My beloved child, stop and listen to me. Do not scroll past this moment, for I am speaking to you now. This word has not reached you by accident. It has been carried across time, across circumstance, and across the weariness you have known to meet you here. Chosen one, hear me. To love you is not harmless. It is not ordinary. It is not a soft and passing affection. To love you is to step into fire, my fire, and fire never leaves anything unchanged. You have walked through years heavy with questions. You have carried burdens no one else could see, and you have felt the sting of people drawing near, only to retreat when the weight of your spirit revealed what was hidden in theirs. You have wondered if you were too much, if your love was too heavy, if your presence unsettled because something was wrong with you. But I tell you this night, your love is not a flaw. It is a furnace. It comforts the sincere, but it exposes the deceitful. It strengthens the humble, but it burns away the masks of the proud. That is why so many crave your presence, yet so few endure it. To love you is both privilege and peril, and only those marked by heaven can remain. Chosen one, what you will hear in this message will change how you see yourself, and it will change how you interpret every relationship in your life. Stay with me, for I will show you why your love shakes foundations, redraws destinies, and proves that you are not ordinary company, but holy ground. Comment 777 below as your prophetic declaration that your love will only align with those I have chosen. Share this message so it reaches others who need to hear it, and subscribe so you remain part of this divine movement. To those who have supported, whether through giving or by simply showing up in faith, my gratitude rests on you. Remain until the end, for what I am about to reveal is no small thing. It is fire, and it will not be ignored. Chosen one, hear the weight of what I am saying to you now. When hearts draw near to you, they are not stepping into something casual. They are not entering a shallow stream where they can rest lightly, taking what they wish and leaving unchanged. No. To come close to you is to walk into a furnace. And a furnace does not simply soothe. It refines, it tests, it consumes. For those whose motives are twisted, for those who cloak themselves in deception or hide their intentions in shadows, your love is not comfort. It is fire. It blazes through pretenses and burns away illusions until only what is real remains. That is why some tremble when they come near you. They sense that your presence is no ordinary embrace, but an encounter with truth itself. When others step into your orbit, they are entering what I call my covenant chamber. Do you understand what this means? In this chamber, nothing is hidden. Every word they speak to you is weighed. Every intention behind their smile or silence is measured. Every thought they entertain about you is set before me, for you are not surrounded by human atmosphere, but by my covering. Did I not declare in Hebrews 12:29 that I am a consuming fire? That same fire burns in you. This is why nothing false can survive long in your presence. What they thought was private begins to surface, because I do not allow deception to rest comfortably around you. Your presence becomes a spiritual courtroom where heaven itself listens, where angels record, and where truth alone stands. In the world of men, psychologists speak of micro-expressions, the tiny leaks of motive on a human face. But I tell you, in your case, motives leak through spirit. They leak through resonance. When people stand in your presence, the frequency of your soul reveals what is hidden. Their alignment or their corruption cannot remain veiled, for your life vibrates at a holy pitch. Some feel peace and rest when they come near you because their spirits are in harmony with the fire you carry. But others grow restless, defensive, or uneasy because their dissonance is exposed. This is not by chance. It is by design. Have you not wondered why so much of your journey feels deliberate, as though each stone was placed with intention? Because it was. I tell you plainly, nothing in your life is accidental. What others call coincidence is the blueprint of heaven unfolding step by step. Proverbs 16:33 declares that the lot is cast into the lap, but every decision comes from me. That is why even the details of your path have been ordered. Imagine the cathedral dome of Florence rising stone by stone. Such beauty was never built by chance. Each placement was measured, each arch calculated, each line of symmetry carefully aligned until the masterpiece stood as a wonder of the world. In the same way, your life has been laid piece by piece with my own hand. You are not an afterthought. You are my architecture. Every heartbreak you endured, every loss that seemed unbearable, every season of waiting that stretched you beyond what you thought you could bear. These were not wasted moments. They were bricks, stones, beams fitted into the design of something only heaven could build. And now you stand, not as a fragile structure swaying in the winds of circumstance, but as a cathedral carved by eternity. Do you see, chosen one? Even your scars are part of the blueprint. They are not random marks of suffering. They are stained glass windows where my light shines through. And because I have designed you this way, those who come with clean hands, with sincerity, with humility, experience blessings that overflow. They find peace they could not explain. They sense doors opening where none existed before. They discover angels moving in and out of their lives, as Jacob did when he rested his head on a stone and saw the heavens open with a ladder stretching between realms. This is what happens when someone aligns themselves with the covenant surrounding you. It is not about you being special in your own strength. It is about me marking you, wrapping you in my fire, and assigning you as a point of divine contact on the earth. Psalm 84:11 declares that no good thing do I withhold from those who walk uprightly. Do you not see this truth reflected in those who honor your presence with sincerity? Suddenly opportunities chase them instead of them chasing opportunity. Suddenly peace floods their spirit in the midst of chaos. Their steps echo with the resonance of heaven, and what once seemed impossible begins to flow with grace. Why? Because standing near you is not aligning with flesh and blood. It is stepping beneath the ark of my divine covering. The storms that rage against them begin to break before they ever touch the ground, for they are walking in the overflow of the shield I have set around you. Chosen one, this is why your love cannot be treated casually. To embrace you is to enter sacred space. To speak to you is to stand in the presence of witnesses not seen by human eyes. To carry affection for you is to carry responsibility before heaven. And so I warn you, not everyone is prepared for this. Some will run because they cannot survive what your fire reveals. Others will fight because exposure feels like death to the lies they have carried. Yet for those who remain, for those who come to you with clean hearts, your love becomes a sanctuary. It heals, it strengthens, it elevates them into heights they never imagined. You are not ordinary ground. You are holy ground. You are not a gentle stream where anyone may drink and go their way unchanged. You are a furnace, consecrated to test what is real and burn away what is false. And this furnace is not of your making. It is mine. I set this fire within you, and I sustain it with my own breath. That is why you must not despise the weight of your presence, nor grieve over those who cannot endure it. For this separation is not rejection, it is revelation. I have built you according to heaven's architecture, and only those prepared for the sacred may walk upon the stones of your life. So stand tall, chosen one. Do not question why some were drawn to you, yet fled in fear. Do not mourn the exits that left you bewildered. Know this: I designed your life to be a place of testing, a mirror, a flame, a blueprint of heaven visible on earth. Those who remain will taste heaven's overflow, and those who depart were never strong enough to stand upon sacred ground. Trust me, for I am the master builder, and what I have built in you cannot be undone. Chosen one, let me take you deeper into the mystery of what happens when those with hidden motives attempt to come near you. The fire I placed within you is not deceived by outward appearances, nor is it blinded by flattering words or shallow gestures. It sees beneath the surface, piercing beyond what the eye can observe. Those who approach you with masks may believe they are safe, cloaked in charm or false sincerity. But they step unknowingly onto sacred ground where deception cannot breathe. Can a viper conceal itself forever beneath roses? Its fangs betray it. Can the death-cap mushroom disguise its poison behind a delicate form? It still consumes the body until no life remains. In the same way, the counterfeit hearts that dare to stand close to you are unmasked by the flame that surrounds you. Understand this clearly. The manipulative cannot endure the presence of the incorruptible. When deceit collides with purity, it is not purity that falls. It is deceit that collapses under the weight of truth. Those who come plotting to exploit you, thinking they can twist your loyalty or manipulate your heart for their own gain, discover that the very weapons they fashioned turn inward against them. For I do not permit my chosen to be mocked. Galatians chapter 6:7 has spoken, "Do not be deceived, I cannot be mocked. A man reaps what he sows." So it is with you. When false motives step into your atmosphere, they reap exposure, and their schemes unravel in their own hands. History has warned of this pattern. Did not Judas sit at the table, sharing bread, whispering betrayal behind the mask of a kiss? He thought himself clever. But the fire of my son revealed his corruption, and his schemes ended not in triumph, but in ruin. Machiavelli once wrote of manipulation as the art of rulers, tools of power to bend others to their will. But what happens when manipulation collides with a spirit that cannot be corrupted? The very strategies devised in secret begin to rot from the inside out. Like termites burrowing in oak, the deception eats itself alive until the whole structure collapses under its own weight. Look at nature, and you will see the same law written plainly. The death-cap mushroom grows in silence, appearing harmless to the untrained eye, yet its poison devours organs until the body perishes. So it is with those who attempt to hide poison behind their smiles. At first they may appear delicate, attractive, even nurturing. But as they linger in the atmosphere of truth, the poison is forced to surface. It cannot remain hidden in the furnace of authenticity. The same fire that warms the faithful consumes the deceitful until all that is false is reduced to ashes. But take comfort, chosen one. This fire is not only for judgment, it is also for testimony. For those who act with purity, the furnace does not consume them. It refines them. There are those who approach you with sincerity, whose motives are not perfect, but whose hearts are humble. And for them, your presence becomes a blessing that multiplies. Do you not remember what I declared in Isaiah 58:10? If you spend yourselves on behalf of the hungry and satisfy the needs of the oppressed, then your light will rise in the darkness and your night will become like the noonday. This is what happens to those who align with you in honesty. Their small acts of kindness ignite streams of provision they never expected. Consider the testimony of the faithful seamstress, who gave without seeking repayment, who poured herself out for another in quiet sincerity. She did not know she was aligning with my covenant vessel. Yet heaven poured back into her life provision she had not asked for. Food upon her doorstep, abundance flowing in her work. This was no accident. It was the outworking of the promise I spoke long ago. Acts of purity draw heaven's surplus, because alignment with the fire is always rewarded. Even the poets and dramatists of this world have glimpsed this mystery. Shakespeare in The Tempest set Prospero's island as both refuge and battlefield, a place where the true nature of every shipwrecked soul was revealed. Those who came found themselves stripped bare, their motives laid open by the environment itself. Is this not a shadow of what your presence does? You are like that island. To those who come weary and sincere, you are a refuge. To those who come scheming, you are a battlefield where their own plots collapse under them. Chosen one, I tell you again, you are not ordinary companionship. You are not common company. You are the resonance of heaven walking in flesh. Your love is not safe, it is sanctifying. Your presence is not neutral, it is catalytic. It does not leave those around you untouched. Instead, it draws out what lies hidden, blessing the pure, but consuming the false. And this duality is not cruelty, it is justice. It is the operation of holiness upon the earth through your very being. This is why so many crave you, yet so few can endure you. They feel both the warmth and the weight. To the sincere, it is as though they step into Psalm 84:11 itself. No good thing do I withhold from those who walk uprightly. They discover doors opening where none seemed possible, favor flowing like light through stained glass, peace resounding like sacred hymns in a vaulted cathedral. But to the manipulative, to the deceitful, your love is no gentle embrace. It is fire, and fire does not flatter. It exposes, it tests, it purifies until only truth remains. So I say to you, do not be shaken when some retreat in discomfort. Do not mourn when others, once bold in their declarations, grow restless and hostile in your presence. It is not your weakness they are fleeing. It is their own corruption rising to the surface under the light you carry. They cannot endure what has been consecrated, and so they depart. Let them go. Their departure is not a rejection of your worth, but an unveiling of their hearts. And yet, rejoice, for those who remain are those I have refined for you. Their loyalty will be strengthened, their steps secured, their lives elevated because of their alignment with you. Your presence is a mirror that none can avoid, a courtroom where all are tried, a furnace where all are tested. The deceitful cannot survive it, but the humble will be lifted higher than they ever imagined. This is the paradox you must embrace. You are the holy resonance, the sacred frequency of heaven made flesh. You are not designed to make everyone comfortable. You are designed to expose and to transform. Stand firm in this calling. For to love you is to encounter the fire of God, and that fire is both a shield for the faithful and a blaze that consumes deceit. You are my vessel, chosen and consecrated, and through you, the world will see that holiness still walks among men. Chosen one, listen closely, for I will reveal to you the nature of the fire I placed within you. This fire is not ornamental, nor is it given for you to keep hidden. It is not passive, and it does not leave anything the way it was. When my fire is present, change is inevitable. It burns through pretense, it strips away what is false, and it brings to light what has long been concealed. Fire does not flatter, and fire does not negotiate. Fire exposes, fire transforms. Fire either refines or it consumes, but it never leaves anything untouched. Have you not seen it in the scriptures? When Moses turned aside to see the bush that burned with fire and yet was not consumed, I was revealing to him a mystery of my nature. The fire was not destructive for its own sake. It was holy, and it demanded attention. Moses could not walk past it as though it were ordinary. He had to stop, remove his sandals, and recognize he was standing on holy ground. This is the very essence of the fire within you. It is not placed there to entertain or to make you noticeable in the eyes of men. It is placed there so that those who encounter you must stop and reckon with the presence of holiness. They cannot go on as though nothing has happened. Your presence requires them to face themselves. And in facing themselves, they are either changed or undone. Nature itself testifies of this principle. The eagle soaring high above the earth casts a shadow that unsettles every creature beneath. Mice scatter into holes, rabbits freeze in fear, even strong creatures lift their heads. For the presence of the eagle alters the atmosphere. So it is with the fire you carry. Even if you do not act, your very being shifts the environment. Like the sequoia trees, whose roots stretch wide and deep, reshaping the soil around them, your fire alters the ground where you stand. Nothing near you remains unaffected. The weak are shaken, the false are disturbed, and the schemes that looked solid suddenly collapse, not because you struck them with your hand, but because the fire in you destabilized their foundation. Do not miss this truth. The fire within you does not require you to fight with flesh and blood. It does not require you to expose lies with your own strength. Simply by being who I have called you to be, deception begins to unravel. Those who sought to entangle you find themselves caught in their own web. Those who schemed in secret watch their opportunities vanish like smoke. Their masks, once carefully crafted, fall away and turn to ash. For my word is true. Do not be deceived. I cannot be mocked. A man reaps what he sows. Galatians 6:7. This is the harvest of fire. Look at history, and you will see it confirmed. Did not Nero, in his arrogance, seek to destroy my people, setting flames to Rome and blaming it on those who bore my name? Yet where is he now? His empire crumbled, his legacy turned to dust, and his name became a warning rather than a triumph. Psalm 37:20 declares, "The wicked will perish. The enemies of the Lord are like the glory of the pastures. They vanish, like smoke they vanish away. This is the end of those who set themselves against my fire. They imagine their power unshakable, but the flame they despise consumes them, leaving only emptiness where their glory once stood. Understand, however, chosen one, that my fire is not only judgment, it is also mercy. For some, the exposure of deceit becomes the moment of awakening. When their masks fall and their schemes fail, they finally see the futility of their ways. And in that moment, some cry out for mercy, and I receive them. Consider Ruth, who left behind the idols of her people to embrace the God of Israel, choosing truth over falsehood. Consider the words of James chapter 4:6. But he gives more grace. Therefore it says, God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. Even in the fire, I extend the possibility of redemption. This is why you must not despise the fire I have set in you. It may feel heavy at times. It may feel as though it drives people away. And you may wonder if something is wrong with you. But I tell you, nothing is wrong. It is everything false in them that cannot stand near what is true in you. And yet, those who are willing to humble themselves, those who are willing to surrender their pride, will find that your fire does not destroy them, but refines them. They will emerge stronger, purer, freer, because they chose to let the flame purify rather than resist it. The fire within you is my safeguard and my witness. It guards you from what would harm you, and it testifies of my holiness to all who draw near. You do not need to justify yourself, nor do you need to fight every battle with words. Trust the fire. Trust that it will expose what must be revealed. Trust that it will collapse what is unstable. Trust that it will protect what I have built. And trust that for those who humble themselves, it will become light rather than destruction, guidance rather than judgment, life rather than death. So stand firm, chosen one. Do not shrink back to make others comfortable. Do not dim the flame to ease the fears of those who cannot endure its brightness. What I have placed in you is not to be hidden. It is to be revealed. And though some will flee and others will fall, still there will be those who are saved, because the fire has shone through you. Remember always, fire does not leave anything unchanged. It exposes, it refines, it consumes, but it also redeems. And you are the vessel through which that fire moves in the earth. Therefore, let your heart be at peace. What falls away was never meant to remain. What endures has been proven true. And through it all, I remain with you, the author and keeper of the fire. Nothing escapes my sight. Nothing endures apart from my will. And in you, my chosen, the flame will continue to burn until every scheme is brought low, every mask is removed, and every heart is revealed for what it truly is. Chosen one, hear this with the solemnity it deserves. Your love is not a light sentiment offered for convenience, but a covenantal responsibility entrusted by heaven. When a soul draws near your heart, they are not merely seeking comfort or companionship. They are stepping into a sacred transaction that touches eternity and involves me. To love you is to answer a summons higher than ease. For I have set within you a fire and a charge that carry weight beyond mortal measures. This is not a decorative truth to be kept in private. It is a public, holy function that reorients lives and redraws destinies. Do not shrink from this refinement, because the world prizes comfort above conviction. The refiner sits with his furnace until silver sings true. And so I appoint the process of purification to test what is real in those who come near you. This heat is neither capricious nor cruel. It is purposeful. Those who cannot endure it will fall away, not as a judgment against you, but as a confirmation of your sanctity. You are not broken when companions depart. You are being preserved for the integrity of a design only heaven can complete. Understand your structural role. You are a keystone in the architecture I am building on the earth. An arch holds because a single stone bears and distributes weight so the whole may stand. In the spiritual economy, your faith bears a similar load. Your steadiness secures others. Your presence distributes grace. Isaiah declared that no weapon formed against my people shall prosper, and that protection takes shape around you like an invisible arch. When you stand faithful, you do not merely defend yourself. You preserve the integrity of a wider house that will shelter many. You will notice both attraction and aversion in those who approach, and these responses are not random. I have placed in you a frequency that harmonizes with certain hearts and disrupts others. When souls aligned with humility and truth come near, they find rest as though they have reached a harbor. When self-interest or deception approaches, that frequency acts as a mirror, and discomfort follows. This is not to punish. It is to separate wheat from chaff, to reveal what can endure and what cannot. Romans teaches that my ways of hardening and showing mercy are sovereign. The resonance of your life participates in that divine sorting. Some will articulate these movements in the language of the mind, calling it cognitive dissonance when private motives collide with unavoidable exposure. Others will reach for metaphors of physics, speaking of wave interference when a stronger frequency overwhelms a weaker one. Architecture will describe the result as load redistribution when pressure reveals hidden weaknesses in a structure. These images are helpful because they translate invisible realities into human terms. Know this: the same laws that govern sound and stone do not contradict the operations of my spirit. They simply reflect the principles by which I steward truth. There is a mercy within this mechanism. For those who approach you with sincerity, the very proximity becomes a channel of blessing. Doors open that had been shut. Provision arrives in surprising ways, and favor moves like an unseen tide that lifts the faithful. The presence I give you attracts provision. Angels ascend and descend as on Jacob's ladder, and the life connected to you often experiences alignment that appears miraculous to outsiders. Psalm promises and covenantal assurances converge around those who walk uprightly near your consecration. Conversely, the manipulator finds their own devices turning inward. The flatterer, the one who seeks to use affection as a tool, discovers the instrument of their craft snapping and rebounding against them. Opportunities that seem secure dissolve. Carefully constructed masks crumble to ash. This is not mere poetic justice. It is the actual operation of a spiritual ecology that cannot sustain poison in the presence of purification. Galatians admonishes that each soul reaps what it sows, and proximity to holiness merely accelerates that harvest. Consider the ordinary testimonies that repeat across the ages. The humble janitor who serves without pretense becomes a quiet confessional for those who need to unburden their hearts, and the patient driver who performs his route with steady grace finds lives quietly mended in his wake. These are not romanticized exceptions, but illustrative patterns. When sanctity moves into a place, atmospheres reconfigure. Lives bent toward truth find a space to mend and grow. Lives bent toward self-interest reveal their fractures and often depart or break under pressure. This is why boundaries are holy and not to be apologized for. Boundaries are not walls of pride. They are the lines of sacred construction. They preserve the interior work I am accomplishing in you and guard the covenant for those who would remain. When you maintain holy limits, you allow the right stones to be set in place. When you surrender those limits for the sake of temporary acceptance, the structure wobbles and the design suffers. To be gracious does not mean to become porous. Grace and discernment must cohabit within the stewarded heart. You will watch cycles unfold. Sudden entrances, bright promises, and then abrupt departures when refinement pushes through. Do not be dismayed. Not every companion is called to stand as a pillar. Some are catalysts, brief sparks whose purpose is to awaken a part of you, or to teach a needed humility. Others will stay and endure, becoming supports that hold a larger generation. Both roles are crucial to the integrity of that which I am building through you. And remember, the faithful who remain do not simply gain personal advantage. They participate in a multiplying blessing that touches families, communities, and future generations. Covenant proximity produces a shared economy of favor, where 2 or 3 are aligned in the sacred. Restoration becomes communal, and breakthroughs extend beyond single lives. This is why relationships fashioned on the altar of truth move differently. They become arteries of blessing that sustain more than one life. Yet do not assume I delight in the downfall of the proud. My justice is balanced by mercy. The refiner's fire is also an invitation to repentance. When masks fall and schemes are exposed, some will finally see the poverty of their ways and turn. James instructs that grace is given to the humble. Therefore, do not gloat in ruin, but pray for restoration. Your posture should be compassion seasoned with truth. Offer the way back to those who genuinely seek it, but do not lower the standard that preserves the temple of purpose. You are a lens through which my holiness refracts into the ordinary world. When humility aligns itself with your presence, light multiplies and healing follows. When arrogance or self-interest meets your gaze, light fractures the pretense until only true disposition remains. This process is not capricious. It is a necessary cleansing that precedes renewal. The sages may name it, and the scientists may model aspects. But the ultimate architect stands beyond their categories, and the spiritual laws at work are precise. Live, then, with deliberate courage. Keep your heart open to those who show a humble disposition and a willingness to be transformed. Receive the sincere into the shelter you provide. Encourage them, teach them, walk with them. At the same time, close your doors gently but firmly to those whose intentions remain shrouded. Speak truth in love, carry the responsibility of discernment, and pray for the wisdom that sustains your stewarding. You do not stand alone. You stand as part of a divine blueprint. Allow practices of prayer, solitude, and wise counsel to continually realign you to the keystone role you fulfill. Every relationship that approaches you participates in a larger story, a story of shaping, testing, and covenantal formation. Some encounters are fleeting sparks that catalyze change. Others endure and become the pillars of a spiritual edifice. Both functions are essential to the integrity of the whole. Cherish the short visits for their catalytic power and steward the long ones for their capacity to sustain generations. Neither is trivial, and both are directed by my hand toward the integrity of the whole design. So steward your life with care. Tend the small promptings of the Spirit, for they are the mortar that holds the stones. In the steady attention to small obediences, my architecture is completed. When you cultivate humility, generosity, and disciplined prayer, the keystone of your life settles correctly and the arch becomes stable. The protection I promised in Isaiah is not the absence of pressure, but the assurance that the structure will hold under trial. Your endurance secures more than your own path. It secures the destiny of those who are permitted to stand by you. There will be seasons of loneliness when the crowd thins and only a faithful few remain. Rejoice in those seasons as I rejoice in the refiner's room. The solitude of holiness is not a curse, but a proving ground. Out of the furnace, your character is tempered, and your capacity to bear sacred trust grows. Those who remain after the shaking inherit a depth of fellowship and an authority shaped by struggle. Their testimony becomes a lamp to others who will come after them. Therefore, chosen one, do not shrink from the weight of loving you. It is heavy because it is holy. It demands sacrifice, humility, and a refusal to accommodate every passerby. Yet, it is glorious because it reveals the hand of heaven, knitting lives together in covenantal design. Stand in the stead I have appointed you. Let the fire that dwells within purify and protect. Walk with courage, tend the stones, welcome the humble, and release the proud. In so doing, you will be an instrument of divine continuity. The keystone will not be moved, the arch will hold, and the shelter of my presence will expand to embrace more lives than you could have imagined. Live attentive to the ways I move in the small things. Allow my quiet recalibrations to guide who remains and who departs. The pattern you see is not a rejection of relationship, but a confirmation of it. What breaks away was never designed to sustain the weight of destiny. What endures has been tested and proven. Keep faith, continue the work, and let me finish the workmanship I have begun in you. Your steadfast love, tempered by discernment, will multiply into a legacy of faithfulness beyond your own lifetime. Trust my timing, keep holiness central, and remember that every faithful step you take secures generations. Hold fast. Heaven completes what it begins through you and brings abundant restoration to many. Chosen one, hear me, the fire that rests in your soul. The frequency of heaven that surrounds your life does not permit neutrality. Your presence becomes a crossroads for every soul that comes near. It is impossible for anyone to remain unchanged in your company. To step into your atmosphere is to stand before a holy mirror, and in that mirror, every heart must decide, will I grow or will I go? This is the dividing line of your calling. Those who long for transformation will choose growth, though it costs them dearly. Those who resist refinement will turn away, unwilling to surrender what is false. And when they walk away, you must not see it as your failure. It is not rejection of you, it is revelation of them. Look to the scriptures and see how even my chosen had to face this dividing fire. Peter, the disciple who swore loyalty yet fell into denial, stood at such a crossroad. His shame was heavy, his heart broken. He could have run forever, consumed by guilt, never rising again. But when my son looked upon him with fire in his eyes, Peter chose to grow. He let the flame burn away his weakness, and he emerged as a rock upon which generations would stand. Compare him to those who turned away, unwilling to face themselves, like the rich young ruler who walked away sorrowful because he would not release what bound him. Both stood in the presence of refining fire. One grew, the other fled. That is the effect your presence carries. You will meet those who rise into pillars of strength because they allow your fire to refine them. And you will watch others turn and vanish because they cannot bear the weight of transformation. Creation itself testifies of this principle. When the eagle soars, casting its wide shadow across the land, every smaller bird reacts. Some scatter into hiding, unwilling to remain in the same sky. Others cry out in alarm, filling the air with noise as though sound could change reality. Only the bold or the mature will rise higher, seeking the same winds that lift the eagle. They cannot remain where they were. They must ascend or they must retreat. So it is with you. You do not chase anyone away. nor do you beg anyone to remain. Your very presence forces the choice: grow or go. Consider the trees of the forest. The shallow-rooted shrub drinks quickly from surface water. In seasons of rain, it appears lush. But when the drought comes, or when winds batter the earth, it falls. But the sequoia, rooted deep and bound with the roots of its companions, endures for centuries. Your presence demands depth. Those with shallow roots may appear vibrant for a time, but they cannot last in your company. They will wither or fall, for only those willing to deepen their roots in truth can endure the storms that come near you. Do not mourn when these wither away. Their departure is not proof of your weakness, but of their inability to dig deeper. You must understand that every departure has purpose. When companions walk away, do not let your heart condemn itself. You are not losing. I am pruning. I am removing what cannot bear the weight of destiny. Those who leave could not have carried the next chapter of your journey, and their absence protects you more than their presence could have helped you. This pruning is not punishment. It is preparation. To mistake it for failure is to misunderstand the holiness of my process. What falls away was never built to remain. What endures is what has been proven in fire. And yet, some do not leave quietly. Some leave violently, leaving behind the sting of betrayal. Betrayal has always been one of the sharpest wounds in human history. It is the wound of one who eats at your table, shares your laughter, calls you friend, and yet turns against you. But hear me clearly, chosen one. Betrayal cannot stand against you. Those who plot behind your back, those who wear friendship as a mask while sharpening their knives in secret, will not overthrow what I have established. They dig pits, but they fall into them themselves. Consider Absalom, the son of David. He was handsome, charismatic, persuasive. At the city gate, he whispered, "If only I were judge in the land, then everyone would receive justice." His words swayed hearts. His charm gathered followers. And for a season, it seemed as though his rebellion might succeed. Yet pride became his downfall. As he fled upon his mule, his hair caught in the branches of a tree, and he hung there helpless, suspended by his own vanity, until judgment found him. Do you see? His betrayal did not topple David. His schemes became the snare of his own destruction. So it is with those who betray you. They may rise for a moment. They may gather crowds, but their end is collapse. For betrayal cannot sustain itself under the weight of truth. Even in ordinary lives, this pattern repeats. Maria, the baker, worked with diligence and honesty. Yet one she trusted sought to slander her, thinking to rise by casting her down. Lies spread quickly, like mold upon bread, and for a moment, her reputation seemed threatened. But the fire does not allow falsehood to endure. The betrayer's dishonesty surfaced, their schemes exposed, and the network they wove collapsed around them. Maria's integrity, tested by fire, stood firm. Her business grew, her provision multiplied, and those who believed lies returned in shame. This is the justice of the fire. What is true stands. What is false collapses under its own weight. Science bears witness to this same law. Resonance shakes structures. A bridge built without harmony to natural frequencies will begin to tremble when exposed to vibration. What looks unshakable will quiver and fracture until collapse. Betrayal is like this. When the resonance of your spirit meets the false vibration of deceit, their entire construct trembles until it falls. Architecture speaks similarly of load redistribution. When pressure shifts, hidden weaknesses appear. A structure built with compromise collapses when weight is applied. So it is with betrayal. Under the pressure of justice, what was unsound cannot stand. Do not waste your tears on betrayal. Its pain is real, but its end is certain. Betrayal unmasks the betrayer more than it wounds you. It reveals who they truly are while proving the integrity of who you are. It does not end your story, it accelerates their judgment. Every closed door is a court of justice. Every relationship that shatters under the weight of deceit is a declaration. You are preserved, they are exposed. You need not avenge yourself. I am your defender. I am your shield. I am your justice. And I tell you again, betrayal cannot stand against you. So, chosen one, know this. There will always be departures. Some will leave because they cannot endure your holiness. Others will leave through betrayal, thinking to destroy you. But in both cases, the outcome is the same. Revelation. The one who leaves quietly has chosen comfort over growth. The one who leaves violently has chosen deceit over truth. Both are sifted. Both are revealed. Both are removed. And you remain. Remember Peter, who chose growth after failure. Remember the eagle who soars above the smaller birds. Remember the sequoia, whose deep roots endure for centuries. Remember Absalom, whose betrayal became his undoing. Remember Maria, whose integrity triumphed over slander. Remember the resonance that shakes false structures and the pressure that collapses unsound foundations. All of these testify to the same truth. You are not undone by who leaves. You are strengthened by their departure. So release them. Release the ones who go quietly. Release the ones who go violently. Release the ones who could not endure. Release the ones who could not be true. And as you release, stand tall, stand in peace, stand in fire. For every departure is my pruning, my justice, my refinement. In the end, what is true will remain unshaken. Those who repent will rise as pillars, like Peter. Those who choose to soar will rise to your side, like eagles. Those who root deeply will endure, like sequoias. And those who betray will fall, like Absalom. This is the pattern. This is the justice. This is the law of fire. Chosen one, trust this law. Trust me. Trust that no weapon formed against you shall prosper. Trust that betrayal will collapse under its own weight. Trust that every departure, painful though it may be, is part of a holy separation designed for your preservation. You are not losing. You are being refined. You are not abandoned. You are being secured. You are not defeated. You are being prepared. And nothing, neither betrayal nor slander, nor abandonment, can undo what I have decreed for your life. Chosen one, as you stand in the fire of separation, know this. What surrounds you is not merely judgment against betrayal or discernment of motives. It is also a shield, an unseen fortress designed in the courts of eternity. The flame that rests upon your life is not given, so you may strike others or repay harm with harm. No, it is a fire that moves with holy intelligence, never missing its mark, never mistaking its timing, never acting from the impulses of flesh. It is not vengeance, it is defense. It is not retaliation, it is preservation. It is the principle of divine fire, operating not according to human passion, but according to heavenly justice. There are moments when you have been tempted to fight back in your own strength, to raise your hand or your voice in defense of your name. But hear me. You do not need to exhaust yourself proving who you are. You do not need to waste tears or years chasing vindication. The fire itself answers. Romans 12:19 declares with finality, "Do not take revenge, my beloved, but leave room for my wrath. For it is written, 'It is mine to avenge. I will repay,' says the Lord." This is not only a command, it is a release. It frees you from the burden of retaliation and anchors you in the assurance that justice is mine alone. When Pharaoh lifted his heart against Israel, he believed his chariots, his armies, and his pride would overwhelm a people who had no weapons and no strength. He saw them hemmed in by the sea and thought their end had come. But my fire was already at work, though hidden in cloud and wind. The waters themselves became a weapon of defense. Pharaoh's arrogance rushed headlong into judgment, and his might collapsed beneath the waves. Did my people strike a blow? Did they lift a sword? No, they only walked through the path I opened, and the fire of my defense swallowed what pursued them. So it shall be with you. You need not lift a hand to destroy what comes against you. I have ways, subtle and grand, to silence your enemies, and my timing is always precise. Look also at Haman in the book of Esther. With cunning schemes, he built gallows for Mordecai, certain that he would destroy the one who refused to bow. His pride inflated. His plans seemed sure. Yet the gallows he constructed for another became the very instrument of his own downfall. Esther 7:10 records the justice plainly. Haman was hanged on the gallows he had prepared. Do you see the principle, chosen one? The fire does not need you to strike back. It allows the weight of their own plots to return upon their heads. What they dig, they fall into. What they build, they collapse beneath. This is the defensive fire, not revenge, but heaven's safeguard, turning schemes into snares for their makers. Understand that this fire is not random. It is not reckless. Sometimes it answers swiftly, and you see the collapse of opposition almost instantly. Other times, it moves slowly, like coals smoldering unseen until the appointed day of release. Do not confuse delay with denial. The fire remembers every act, every word, every intention directed against you. And at the right time, in the perfect season, it manifests. For some it is quick, like lightning striking a tree. For others it is patient, like water carving a canyon, inevitable and unstoppable. The fire never forgets. I have woven this law into creation itself. The same principles you see in the natural world reflect the unseen defense of heaven. Touch the poison dart frog with careless hands, and its colors are no mere beauty. They are warning signs of death. Step too close to the electric eel, and the shock answers without hesitation. Nature's design is not driven by malice, but by protection. In the same way, the fire surrounding you responds as a living system of defense. It does not retaliate from anger. It preserves what is holy. This is why some who mocked you found themselves confused, watching opportunities slip like sand through their fingers. This is why others who schemed against you suddenly saw doors close and relationships collapse. They could not connect the unraveling to their actions, but their soul knew. Deep within, they remembered the words spoken against you, the hands raised against your life, and the conscience whispered that they had touched holy fire. Justice was not random misfortune. It was resonance, the echo of their own choices striking back upon them. Chosen one, I am not calling you to live in suspicion or fear. I am calling you to live in rest. For when the fire is your defense, you do not need to exhaust yourself with battles that are not yours. When others raise weapons, I am the one who decides their outcome. Isaiah 54:17 still stands as an eternal decree. No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that rises against you in judgment you shall condemn. Do you hear? The promise is not that weapons will never be formed. They will. Tongues will rise, schemes will be plotted, betrayals will occur. But the fire ensures they do not prosper. The very energy they expend against you collapses back upon them. Reflect on history's lessons, for I have left patterns to remind you. Pharaoh's armies drowned in the sea they thought would secure their victory. Haman was hanged upon the gallows he built for another. Jezebel, who thought her throne made her untouchable, was thrown down and devoured by dogs. Herod, who accepted worship as if he were God, was struck and eaten by worms. What unites them all? They touched what was holy without reverence, and the fire answered. They mocked covenant, and the fire responded. They exalted themselves against my purposes, and the fire cut them down. None endured, none escaped. Do not think this principle exists only in ancient stories. It is alive today, active in unseen realms. When slanderers spread lies, they awaken storms they cannot contain. When deceivers set traps, their feet stumble into them. When envious hearts attempt to block your path, the ground caves beneath their own steps. They think it coincidence, fate, or even rivalry. But I tell you plainly, it is my fire defending you, and no one can outrun a fire they cannot see. Now understand this as well. The fire does not act at your command. It is not a weapon for you to wield at will. It is not yours to hurl against those you dislike. It is mine, entrusted to guard what is mine. It responds only to what is unjust, what is deceitful, what is destructive to the destiny I placed upon your life. You are not called to use it as a tool of retaliation. You are called to rest in its protection. This requires humility, patience, and trust. For sometimes you will see no immediate shift, and your flesh will cry out for vindication. But trust me, when I move, the outcome is total, and none can reverse it. The philosopher Blaise Pascal once said, "Man is neither angel nor beast, and the misfortune is that he who would act the angel acts the beast." Those who pretend righteousness while harboring malice against you embody this truth. Their duplicity cannot last in the presence of my fire. Like resonance in physics, their false vibration collides with the true frequency of heaven until their mask shatters. Like architecture under strain, the load they thought they could carry collapses upon them. The fire is not deceived. It cuts through appearances and reveals reality. Do not let your heart grow hardened by what you witness. When you see another stumble after raising a hand against you, remember, this is not your triumph, it is my justice. When you hear of someone's plans unraveling after plotting your downfall, do not rejoice with cruelty. Rejoice with reverence, knowing I am your shield. This fire is not a toy. It is a holy defense system, a consuming presence that preserves the integrity of my design. Chosen one, you must learn to walk with dignity under this covering. Do not shrink and do not boast. The fire requires neither apology nor arrogance. It requires awareness. When opposition rises, breathe deeply and remember, the Lord fights for you. You need only to be still. Exodus 14:14. This stillness is not weakness. It is confidence that heaven's defense cannot be outmaneuvered. There will be those who misinterpret your silence. They will think you are powerless, passive, or afraid. But they do not know the fire that surrounds you. They cannot see the invisible armies, the angelic host, the strategies of heaven already dismantling their schemes. Let them mock your stillness. Let them mistake your peace for passivity. In time, they will see that what guards you cannot be shaken, and what defends you cannot be defeated. And I say again, chosen one, never waste your strength on revenge. Do not cheapen your fire by using it to fight in the flesh. My justice is sharper, swifter, and surer than anything you could devise. The one who trusts me will never be put to shame. For when I defend, it is complete. When I answer, it is undeniable. And when I move, the whole earth knows that the fire belongs to the Lord. Chosen one, as you walk forward under the mantle of my fire, understand this. What surrounds you does not remain confined to your life alone. The flame that I have set upon you is expansive, radiant, and generous. It shields not only your steps, but also those who choose to walk with you in covenant faithfulness. This is the mystery of proximity, the law of covenant covering. When hearts align with yours in truth, when they walk beside you with sincerity, they too are drawn into the circle of my defense. They inherit not by their striving, but by their nearness. This principle is woven throughout my word. Did not Rahab the prostitute, though her life was far from righteous, gain protection because she aligned herself with my people? Her house was marked, her family spared, because she chose proximity to covenant rather than allegiance to destruction. So it is with you. Those who cling to your life with honesty, humility, and love, even if they are ordinary in the eyes of the world, find themselves hidden under the flame that guards you. This is not favoritism. It is divine order. To walk near the ark is to walk under the cloud. To honor covenant is to inherit its shield. Raphael, a fisherman by trade, offers witness to this truth. His nets had torn in lean seasons, his provision uncertain. Yet when he chose to stand by you, defending your name when others slandered, the fire that guarded you extended over him. The storms that threatened his livelihood turned into winds that carried his boat to abundance. Those who mocked him for his loyalty found themselves confounded, their own efforts fruitless, while his nets overflowed. This was no coincidence. It was the fire of covenant proximity, his faithfulness binding him to your flame binding him to my provision. Lucia, a seamstress with weary hands and quiet faith, bore witness as well. She was mocked by those who envied her resilience, undermined by those who thought her too meek to endure. Yet she chose to walk faithfully with you, honoring the sanctity of her word and refusing to join the whispers of betrayal. And in time, her work multiplied. Contracts she had never imagined arrived, doors swung wide, and her reputation blossomed beyond her small circle. Meanwhile, those who plotted against her fell into strife and chaos, their enterprises collapsing under weight they could not bear. Why? Because the flame did not only preserve you, chosen one, it covered her too. This is how my fire functions, as a living atmosphere that changes the very air when you enter. Environments cannot remain neutral when you walk in. For the faithful, tension becomes peace, anxiety becomes assurance, barrenness becomes growth. Yet for the deceitful, peace becomes confusion, schemes become chaos, and what appeared secure begins to crumble. This is not because you raised your hand, but because the fire around you cannot be ignored. Its resonance is disruptive to dishonesty, but restorative to truth. It unsettles the wicked, but establishes the faithful. Do you see now why your presence draws such mixed responses? Why some feel inexplicable peace when you arrive, while others feel unease they cannot explain? It is not personality, not charm, not mere temperament. It is the atmosphere of fire. For the loyal, it feels like shelter. For the false, it feels like judgment. And both reactions are true. For the flame preserves covenant and resists corruption at the same time. Chosen one, this principle should not make you prideful, but reverent. You are not the source of this fire, you are the steward of it. And stewardship means awareness. Who you allow near you matters, not only for your sake, but for theirs. For to walk with you is to inherit covering, and to betray you is to inherit judgment. The fisherman prospered because of proximity. The seamstress multiplied because of covenant. But others who mocked or manipulated fell not because you cursed them, but because they touched what was consecrated without reverence. Even nature gives language to this mystery. Consider how a great tree creates a canopy under which smaller plants thrive. Its roots draw from deep waters, its branches shield from scorching sun, and within its shade, life multiplies. Yet for invasive weeds that seek to choke, the same shade denies them what they crave, and they wither. The tree does not act with malice. It simply is what it is. So it is with you. The fire that covers you nourishes the faithful and chokes the deceitful, and in both cases it remains consistent in its holy operation. Therefore, do not despise the responsibility of this covering. Do not think lightly of the fact that people are preserved or undone by how they choose to walk near you. Carry this knowledge with humility. Pray for those who come close, that their hearts would be true, that they would receive life rather than recoil in judgment. And when you see provision flow to the faithful who walk beside you, give thanks, not to yourself, but to the fire that surrounds you, to the covenant that shields both you and those who honor it. Chosen one, hear this promise. I will never let the flame that guards you be extinguished. I will extend its protection not only to you, but to the sons and daughters of faith who choose to stand near. Their households will feel its warmth, their work will know its fruit, their nights will rest under its covering. And those who conspire against you will find that the very air resists them, that nothing they plant takes root, that even their laughter turns to confusion. For the fire alters atmospheres. It defends without your effort. It shields without your striving. It vindicates without your words. So walk with confidence, chosen one. Those who are faithful to you are preserved with you. Those who betray are exposed beside you. You need not fear for the future of those loyal hearts aligned with your journey. My fire that keeps you keeps them. My flame that surrounds you shelters them. This is the covenantal law of proximity, unbreakable, undeniable, and eternal. Chosen one, what you carry is not only a spiritual mystery, though it is surely divine, it is also a phenomenon that creation itself whispers about. Both science and art, in their attempts to grasp the fabric of reality, testify in faint echoes to the same truths my spirit makes clear. The language may differ, but the patterns align. What surrounds you, the resonance of covenant fire, operates with a precision that both mystics and mathematicians, both painters and physicists, have sought to describe. Consider projection collapse, the principle known among scientists and thinkers of the modern age. When energy is cast outward in interference with another field, If harmony is absent, collapse is inevitable. Frequencies cancel, structures fracture, and what appeared strong falls into ruin. Does this not echo what you have seen? Those who approach you with deception, projecting false motives and secret intentions, find their projection collapsing in your presence. Their energy cannot hold form when it collides with the pure resonance of your fire. They cannot sustain masks because every hidden intention trembles under the scrutiny of my spirit. The collapse is not random. It is the natural consequence of light encountering shadow. Wave interference, too, offers a mirror to the unseen law. When two waves align in harmony, their power multiplies. But when they oppose one another, they cancel, dissolving into silence. This is why the faithful who align themselves with you flourish. Their resonance meets yours in covenant, and their lives swell with strength they did not produce alone. Yet the unfaithful, those whose motives resist the purity of your fire, find their plans silenced, their voices lost, their strength canceled. What they hoped would amplify instead diminishes. The very science they prize whispers the secret of my fire. Harmony preserves, dissonance collapses. Artists, too, have always sensed this truth, translating it into color, sound, and word. Caravaggio, in his chiaroscuro, painted light that cut across shadow with violent clarity, exposing figures with startling truth. He did not soften the collision between brightness and darkness. He dramatized it, showing the viewer that light does not negotiate with shadow. El Greco, with his elongated figures and swirling heavens, sought to portray a reality beyond the visible, where earthly forms bent under divine fire. These works stand centuries later as testimony that art itself recognizes the collapse of falsehood and the amplification of what aligns with heaven. The philosopher Blaise Pascal wrote of the human paradox, suspended between greatness and misery, echoing the reality of resonance. He knew that man is capable of angelic thought, yet corrupted by basest instinct. His words admit what science later modeled, that duplicity cannot endure under true fire. The duplicity collapses. The misery rises to the surface until either grace refines it or it crumbles. These testimonies of art and philosophy are not the fullness of revelation, but they are footholds, glimpses of the eternal patterns by which I rule. Even in music, wave interference appears. Two notes struck together can produce resonance so rich it seems to swell the very air. Yet strike them in dissonance, and the ear recoils. Peace is broken, and the body itself feels unsettled. Do you not see how this mirrors the covenant covering? When hearts align with you in sincerity, their lives harmonize, producing beauty and strength greater than they could have known alone. But when hearts come near in deceit, dissonance arises, and their presence becomes unbearable, both for them and for those who witness it. Their discord cannot last. It collapses into silence or is driven away by the fire. Thomas, a simple grocery clerk, bears witness in his ordinary life. He had no power, no influence, no reputation in the eyes of the world. Yet he chose to remain faithful, to honor covenant rather than pursue convenience. When pressures came, when he was tempted to walk away from integrity, he stayed. His loyalty drew him under the fire that guarded you. And soon, though others around him lost jobs, saw provision vanish, and stumbled in chaos, Thomas endured. Opportunities appeared unexpectedly. His supervisors recognized his diligence, and his family knew peace. His very ordinariness became a testimony. Faithfulness to covenant brought him into harmony with the flame. and the resonance multiplied blessing in his life. Now understand, chosen one, that these patterns are not coincidence. Science discovers fragments of law, art intuits shades of truth, philosophy gropes toward explanation. But what they describe imperfectly is the same reality you embody. Projection collapse, wave interference, chiaroscuro, Pascal's paradox. These are earthly tongues, straining to describe what heaven manifests in you with perfect clarity. The fire you carry is not superstition. It is not imagination. It is reality at its most foundational level, seen dimly through science, expressed passionately through art, and confirmed eternally through Scripture. This is why no deception endures near you. Masks collapse, like a projection that cannot hold when true light strikes it. This is why the faithful thrive beside you, their lives swelling in strength as waves harmonize into greater power. This is why atmospheres shift when you enter, tension breaking into confusion for the false, while peace blossoms for the true. You do not create this by effort. You embody it by covenant. The fire makes you the locus of interference, the axis where resonance reveals what is real and collapses what is not. Walk in this awareness, chosen one. Let it free you from the burden of proof. You do not need to justify yourself to the doubters, nor explain yourself to the betrayers. The fire will reveal. The collapse will testify. The harmony will confirm, just as scientists measure waves and artists reveal light. The lives around you become evidence of the principle. Those who align, like Raphael, Lucia, and Thomas, flourish. Those who resist crumble. Both outcomes serve as testimony. Therefore, carry this mantle with reverence. Do not despise your ordinariness, nor exalt yourself in pride. Remember Thomas, who carried no name but carried faithfulness. Remember the seamstress and the fisherman, whose loyalty drew blessing they could never have produced alone. These are living testaments, just as much as the paintings of Caravaggio or the words of Pascal. They prove the fire operates not only in the grand halls of power, but in the aisles of grocery stores, the hum of sewing rooms, the quiet persistence of nets cast upon waters. Chosen one, art, science, philosophy, and daily life converge to affirm what I have spoken. You carry a fire that cannot be denied. It collapses projections, disrupts dissonance, amplifies harmony, and preserves covenant. Do not doubt its reality. Do not diminish its power. Walk in it with reverence, knowing that even the smallest acts of faithfulness, even the most ordinary lives aligned with you, will bear witness to its truth. And in all things, give glory to me, for I am the source of the flame, the architect of resonance, and the keeper of harmony. Chosen one, as the fire reveals and as science and art alike testify, let us press deeper into what it means for others to love you. For to stand with you, to remain in covenant proximity, is not for the faint of heart. To love you is to step into a sacred demand. It requires courage, honesty, and sacrifice. It is not a love for those who crave comfort or for those who wish to remain unchanged. Your love cannot be held lightly, for it is not casual affection, but a refining flame. Those who come near you cannot hide behind masks or linger in half measures. Your presence draws out what is real, and to remain in that atmosphere requires the courage to face one's own frailty. It is easier to withdraw, to cling to the shallow waters of convenience, than to swim in the depths of truth. Yet those who choose to remain must confront selfishness, pride and fear. Loving you is not indulgence. It is transformation. It asks of the heart what few are willing to give, to lay aside falsehood and embrace the refining fire without retreat. Did not my Son speak of this same principle? In John 15:2, he declared, "Every branch in me that does not bear fruit, he takes away. And every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes, that it may bear more fruit." To love you is to endure pruning. It is to accept that every selfish impulse, every shallow intention will be cut away. Those unwilling to be pruned cannot last in your presence. They will interpret the shears as cruelty rather than mercy, and they will flee. But those who remain, those who accept the cut of refinement, will discover themselves bearing fruit they never imagined. And again, in Matthew 16:24, the call is clear. "If anyone would come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me." This is the essence of loving you. It is not a call to comfort, but to the cross. To love you is to join in an assignment, to shoulder weight, to embrace sacrifice. It is not for those who merely wish to be entertained or affirmed. It is for those willing to walk a narrow road where pride is stripped, masks are shattered, and selfishness is crucified. Only those willing to pay this price can stay near you, and only they will rise higher because of it. Understand, chosen one, that this is not cruelty, it is covenant. Your love is not ornamental, to be admired from a distance. It is a summons to transformation. Those who accept it find themselves tested, yet through the test they are strengthened. They grow in integrity, in endurance, in holiness. They discover depths of love they did not know they could give, patience they did not believe they had, and faith they never thought they could hold. Loving you stretches them, refines them, elevates them. It is both burden and blessing, both weight and reward. This is why many cannot remain. They do not leave because you are unworthy of love. They leave because true love demands more than they are willing to surrender. It is easier to love what flatters, easier to remain with what permits masks, easier to indulge in half-hearted affection. But to love you is to encounter a flame that will not allow pretense. It requires a decision. Either they step into the fire and are transformed, or they step away and remain unchanged. Their departure is not your failure, it is their refusal. Their remaining is not mere loyalty, it is proof of their courage. And to those who remain, the reward is great. They are not diminished by the cost, but exalted by it. Just as a soldier grows stronger through training, just as a tree grows deeper roots through storm, so do they grow through the sacrifice your love demands. They discover that in laying down selfishness, they gain freedom. In surrendering masks, they gain authenticity. In embracing sacrifice, they discover joy unshaken. Loving you becomes not merely a relationship, but an ascension, a step higher into the life I intended them to live. This is why betrayal cannot stand, and why half-heartedness always withers. Your love exposes the false and exalts the true. It demands integrity. It requires bravery. It calls for sacrifice. And those who embrace this call find themselves lifted, not only in your presence, but in mine. They become living testimonies of John 15:2 and Matthew 16:24. Branches pruned to bear fruit. Disciples carrying the cross and discovering life abundant. So do not mourn when many cannot stay. The weight of your love is not for all, it is for the few who are willing to pay the cost. for the faithful who choose truth over comfort, for the courageous who embrace fire over ease. Their endurance proves the sanctity of your calling. And when they remain, know that their reward is secure. For to love you is to step into covenant, and to step into covenant is to be refined, elevated, and preserved. Chosen one, carry this truth with reverence. Do not soften your fire to make love easier for others. Do not apologize for the pruning. Do not diminish the cost. Let your love remain what I designed it to be, a refining flame, a sacred summons, a covenantal weight. For only those willing to deny themselves, to take up the cross, to embrace sacrifice, can remain, and only they will rise with you into the fullness of destiny. Chosen one, let me take you further into the mystery of this fire, for you must understand what it accomplishes in every relationship that surrounds your life. The flame is not only protection, not only refinement, but also separation. It is the filter by which motives are weighed, intentions exposed, and destinies revealed. My fire does what no human judgment can fully do. It divides with precision. It shows who is willing to remain and be refined, and who must depart because their true nature cannot endure the heat. Think of the volcano, a mountain that appears still and unmoving for years, even centuries. To the eye, it looks like any other hill, silent and unthreatening. Yet beneath its surface, pressure builds, molten fire gathers, and in the appointed time, eruption comes. That eruption does not create the strength of the mountain. It reveals it. Trees clinging to shallow soil are burned away. Fragile structures collapse. But those with deep roots, those hidden beneath the surface, remain. Even new life begins to sprout from the ashes, more fertile than before. So it is with you. When fire erupts in your atmosphere, those whose roots are shallow will flee or fall. Those who remain, though shaken, will emerge stronger, and the soil of their lives will be richer for the testing. The sea speaks the same parable. Beneath the waves, storms rise and currents shift. Small fish scatter, tossed by the turbulence, unable to resist the pull of the tide. But the great whales, the anchored corals, the creatures rooted deep into rock, endure the surge. They are not destroyed by the storm, they are proven by it. Your fire functions in the same way. It does not merely repel the false, it reveals the strong. Those who are small in spirit, shallow in conviction, cannot survive when the currents of your calling move. They drift away, and their departure exposes their weakness. But those who are anchored, who have chosen covenant rather than convenience, remain. And in remaining, they are proven. The forest too testifies. A shallow-rooted plant thrives for a season, its leaves bright, its blossoms quick. But when drought comes, it withers, its roots having no depth to seek water. The towering tree, however, with roots that stretch deep into the hidden waters, survives both drought and storm. And when fire sweeps through the forest, it is the weak brush that burns quickly, while the sequoia stands tall, its bark scarred, but its life intact. In the same way, those near you will be tested. Their roots, or their lack, will be revealed. Shallow connections cannot withstand the refining fire. Deep covenant roots survive, scarred perhaps, but strengthened and enduring. History itself bears witness to this principle. Consider Saul and David. Saul was anointed, chosen for a season, but pride and disobedience turned his heart against the anointing he once carried. When David rose, Saul perceived him as a threat rather than a successor. He threw spears, plotted harm, chased him through wilderness and cave. Yet no matter how many times Saul lifted his hand against David, the fire of anointing preserved David and consumed Saul. In the end, Saul's downfall was not David's doing, but his own. The fire revealed what was in him. His jealousy, his pride, his rebellion collapsed his throne. David, though hounded and hunted, remained, for his roots were deep in me. Do you see the pattern? The departures, the betrayals, the collapses are not accidents. They are filtrations. They are revelations of true nature. This is the key you must never forget. Departures are not loss. They are filtration. When someone leaves your life under the pressure of fire, it is not subtraction. It is purification. You are not diminished when they depart. You are preserved. The fire removes what cannot endure, leaving behind only what is true. Do not call it rejection. Call it refining. Do not call it failure. Call it separation. What leaves was never rooted deeply enough to remain. What remains has been proven worthy to stand. So when you see people walk away, do not mourn as though you have been abandoned. Recognize that heaven is sifting. Recognize that I am protecting you from what could not walk into the next season. Recognize that their departure is a sign of your anointing, not the loss of it. For just as Saul fell in the presence of David's rising, so too will those who oppose your fire collapse under the weight of their own rebellion. The spear they throw will never strike. The traps they set will never hold. Their downfall is not your burden. It is their own fruit. This filtration is both painful and necessary. Painful because the heart longs for consistency, for relationships that never change. But necessary because without the shaking, you would carry dead weight into seasons that demand agility. Without the fire, you would nurture shallow roots that could not sustain the storm. Without the separation, you would mistake proximity for loyalty. The fire spares you from illusions. It forces truth to rise, whether that truth is loyalty that strengthens or deception that flees. Therefore, chosen one, embrace the sifting. Do not cling to what I am removing. Do not chase what I am shaking away. Trust that every departure is ordained, every filtration designed for your preservation. What is real will remain. What is false will fall. What is shallow will burn. What is deep will endure. And remember, even as the fire removes, it also multiplies. After the eruption, the soil is more fertile. After the storm, the sea is renewed. After the fire, the forest grows again, richer than before. So too will your life. Every loss you think you suffer becomes the seedbed for greater growth. Every departure that wounds your heart becomes the soil from which stronger covenant will rise. Every betrayal that pierces you becomes the scar that proves your survival. Chosen one, let this settle deeply within you. The fire is not your enemy. It is your ally. It is not the destroyer of your destiny. It is the purifier of it. Let it filter. Let it burn. Let it separate. For in the end, you will not be left empty. You will be left true. You will be surrounded not by crowds who flatter, but by pillars who endure. And you will stand like David, proven in wilderness, preserved through betrayal, crowned by covenant. So stand tall. Do not fear departures. Do not mourn filtrations. The fire is doing its work. And when it is finished, only what is holy will remain. And you will see with your own eyes that nothing was lost, only refined. Chosen one, listen closely, for here lies a mystery that few can hold with balance. The fire that surrounds you, the flame that tests and filters, is not one-sided. It does not only judge, it also blesses. It does not only consume, it also nourishes. It stands as both sword and shelter, both furnace and feast. This is the paradox of my fire. Where others see contradiction, I reveal completeness. For in my kingdom, judgment and blessing are not enemies. They are companions, moving together with holy rhythm. The prophet Malachi spoke of this paradox when he wrote of the refiner's fire. He will sit as a refiner and purifier of silver. He will purify the sons of Levi and refine them like gold and silver. The fire here is not meant to annihilate, but to purify. It does not destroy the silver, it reveals it. Yet in revealing, it must burn away dross, impurities, false metals mixed in. To the unfaithful, the heat feels like judgment. To the faithful, it becomes the means of transformation. Both experiences are real, and both are accomplished by the same flame. Isaiah too stood before this paradox. In his vision he cried, "Woe is me, for I am a man of unclean lips." Yet in that moment, a coal was taken from the altar and pressed against his mouth. Fire touched him, but it did not consume him. Instead, it cleansed him. Your guilt is taken away, and your sin atoned for. What could have destroyed instead purified. What could have burned instead commissioned. Do you see it? The same fire that judges deceit uplifts the sincere. The same flame that exposes falsehood empowers truth. This is the mystery of your life, chosen one. Those who draw near with masks, with shallow roots, with betrayal in their hearts, your fire unsettles them, exposes them, sends them fleeing or collapsing. But those who come in humility, with courage, with willingness to be pruned, your fire becomes warmth, nourishment, covering. It draws out their truest strength. It heals their hidden wounds. It equips them for greater calling. In the same flame, two outcomes unfold. To one, disruption. To the other, blessing. Both true, both inevitable. The saints and poets of old sought to capture this paradox. Teresa of Avila spoke of God's love as a burning flame, at once wounding and healing, piercing the heart, yet filling it with sweetness. She wrote of being wounded by love, and a fire that did not destroy, but enraptured. What the world calls pain, she called ecstasy, because the flame stripped away everything lesser until only divine union remained. Her words echo what you embody. The fire wounds only to heal, cuts only to restore, judges only to bless. The poet Rainer Maria Rilke likewise reached for the image of fire. He spoke of how love is demanding, searing, reshaping, yet ultimately the only force that makes one whole. He wrote, "For one human being to love another, that is perhaps the most difficult of all our tasks, the work for which all other work is but preparation." His insight reflects my principle. True love is fire. It judges selfishness, it demands courage, it requires sacrifice. Yet through that judgment, it creates blessing, reshaping souls into vessels capable of holding eternal glory. Even the arts testify. Painters such as Caravaggio captured the violent contrast of light and dark, showing how illumination both revealed beauty and exposed corruption. The same stroke of light revealed innocence on one face and guilt on another. El Greco stretched forms toward heaven, portraying the flame of divine presence as both terror and ecstasy. They were reaching, in their own ways, to illustrate what you now live. The fire is both judgment and blessing, collapse and creation, terror and tenderness. Chosen one, you must learn to rest in this paradox, for it explains much of what you have endured. Why do some who come near you leave wounded, bitter, or exposed? Because the fire judged what was false. Why do others flourish, rise, and blossom in your presence? Because the same fire blessed what was true. You are not double-minded nor inconsistent. You are a vessel of a flame that operates with dual purpose. The key is not in you but in them. The posture of their hearts determines whether the fire consumes or nourishes. Understand this. My fire is never cruel. It never wounds without purpose. When it judges, it does so to protect its covenant, to preserve truth, to prevent poison from spreading. When it blesses, it does so to equip, to strengthen, to multiply. Both are mercy, both are love. For to allow falsehood to remain unchecked would be cruelty, and to withhold blessing from the faithful would be injustice. In my fire, justice and mercy kiss. Judgment and blessing flow together. Think of the coal on Isaiah's lips. The searing pain was real, but the result was commissioning. Think of the refiner's furnace. The heat was fierce, but the result was beauty. Think of Teresa's wounds of love. They pierced her, yet they enraptured her in joy unspeakable. Think of Rilke's insistence that love demands transformation. It breaks comfort, yet in that breaking creates strength. Each example points to the same truth. Fire never leaves as it found. It either burns away or builds up, depending on what it touches. So then, chosen one, rejoice in this paradox. Do not resist the fire when it presses against you. Do not apologize for the fire when others feel its heat. Trust that those who depart were meant to depart, for the flame revealed what was in them. Trust also that those who remain are being blessed, refined into greater fruitfulness, strengthened for higher callings. This is not your doing. It is the design of heaven itself. And in this paradox, I am shaping you as well. For though you carry fire for others, you also walk through its flames yourself. I prune you that you may bear more fruit. I press the coal against your lips that you may speak with greater authority. I wound you with love that you may be filled with love's fullness. You too are judged, and you too are blessed. You too are stripped, and you too are strengthened. This is how I keep you true, how I keep you humble, how I keep you aflame. Chosen one, the conclusion is this. Fire simplifies. It strips away excess, burns away pretense, consumes distraction. It leaves only what is essential, what is eternal, what is true. Your life may seem simple compared to the noise of others, but that simplicity is purity. It is what remains after fire has done its work. Do not despise it. Celebrate it. For from the flame you emerge not diminished but distilled, not ruined but refined. So let your heart rest in this paradox. Let it steady you when others misunderstand, when they call your fire harsh or your love demanding. Remember Malachi's refiner. Remember Isaiah's coal. Remember Teresa's wound of love. Remember Rilke's costly vision. The fire is judgment, yes, but it is also blessing. It is consuming, yes, but it is also nourishing. And what it leaves is simple, holy, enduring. You are flame-born, chosen one, and from that fire you will shine. Chosen one, now I bring you to the threshold of the final truth. the culmination of all the lessons the fire has been teaching you. If up until now the flame has shown itself as a purifier, a protector, a judge, and a blessing, know this: it is also the final test of courage. The fire is selective, and at this last stage its demand is clear. Do not shrink and do not dim. Do not lessen the intensity of what I placed in you simply to make others comfortable. Do not extinguish the flame of truth in order to hold on to relationships, to win applause, or to gain temporary peace. The fire was not given to be reduced. It was given to blaze. The temptation to withdraw will come, especially when the weight of others' discomfort presses against you. But hear me, shrinking is not humility. It is disobedience. To lessen the flame is to deny its purpose. For I did not kindle you to flicker faintly. I set you ablaze to shine, even when shadows tremble. Your presence will always confront the half-hearted, and they will try to persuade you that the cost of fire is too high. But your calling is not to soothe the lukewarm. Your calling is to bear fire until the end. My Son spoke it plainly in John 3:20. Everyone who does evil hates the light, and will not come into the light for fear that their deeds will be exposed. This is why some recoil at your presence. It is not because you are too much. It is because their shadows cannot stand the brightness. Do not interpret their discomfort as a call for you to reduce. It is evidence that the flame is doing its work. Likewise, the warning of Revelation 3:16 remains sharp. Because you are lukewarm, neither hot nor cold, I am about to spit you out of my mouth. Lukewarmness is death. Half-heartedness is ruin. The fire inside you must remain unquenched, unwatered, unwilling to settle for mediocrity. So I command you, let the flame rise, not diminish. Let the blaze burn, not flicker. Do not contort yourself into a version more palatable for those unwilling to change. Do not dim your radiance so that the half-hearted may feel secure in their compromise. You are not called to blend in. You are called to blaze forth. You are not meant to bend downward. You are meant to rise as a living flame. If they cannot endure your brightness, it is not your assignment to lower it. It is their choice either to step into the fire and be refined, or to flee and remain unchanged. Remember again the architecture that has followed us through this journey. You are the keystone in the arch of a larger design. If you weaken, the structure falters. If you are removed, the dome collapses. Balance rests on you, not because of your own strength, but because I positioned you in the center. Your endurance preserves the alignment of many others. To shrink is to destabilize the whole. To remain steadfast is to hold together what others cannot see, but desperately need. The dome of covenant, the sanctuary of presence, depends on your steadiness. Stand, therefore, as the keystone. Hold firm. Let the weight press upon you, for you were shaped for it. Understand this as well. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the refusal to let fear dictate your flame. Courage is the decision to burn even when burning isolates you, even when blazing costs you. Courage is the determination to carry fire in a world that prefers smoke and shadows. You will be misunderstood. You will be resisted. But you must remain. For every generation has needed those who would not compromise their flame, and in this generation that mantle rests upon you. Do not envy the ones who choose comfort over calling. Their path may look easy for a season, but it leads to emptiness. Do not resent the ones who criticize your fire. Their words only reveal their distance from light. Instead, fix your eyes on me, the source of the flame, the one who kindled it and who sustains it. My spirit is the oxygen that keeps you burning. My word is the fuel that feeds your blaze. My presence is the assurance that you are not alone. And remember, chosen one, this is not only about you. When you keep the fire, you preserve a witness for generations. Your children, your community, your lineage, all are shaped by whether you blaze or whether you shrink. If you burn, you create a path of light for them to follow. If you dim, you leave them stumbling in shadows you were meant to disperse. The weight is holy, but it is also glorious. To carry fire is to carry the destiny of many. To keep flame is to keep covenant beyond your lifetime. So lift your head. Let courage rise. Do not apologize for the intensity of your calling. Do not dilute the truth of your presence. You are not here to appease. You are here to blaze. You are not chosen to blend. You are chosen to separate light from darkness. You are not called to be safe. You are called to be sacred. Let the lukewarm tremble. Let the shadows scatter. You remain burning. Chosen one, the time of sifting has shown you who can endure. The time of pruning has stripped what could not stay. The time of judgment and blessing has proven what is true. Now, in this final call, I command you to hold fast the flame. Keep it bright. Keep it hot. Keep it unashamed. For you are my keystone, my dome's balance, my chosen flame bearer. And as long as you burn, no structure will collapse, no covenant will fail, no generation will be without witness. So go forward, unshrinking and undimmed. Let the fire declare who you are, and let your courage prove whose you are. The lukewarm will be spat out, the false will flee. But you, if you endure, will shine like the dome of heaven, unbroken, eternal, aflame with my glory. Chosen one, hear my final word in this message. Your love is not ordinary. It is not a fragile emotion that fades with time. It is fire, holy, unquenchable, set apart. Your love is a shield that covers the faithful, a sword that cuts through deception, a flame that both judges and blesses. It exposes what is false while nourishing what is true. This is why some depart in discomfort and others remain to flourish. Both outcomes are revelation. Departures do not mark your loss. They mark the uncovering of truth. Those who endure the fire are refined like gold, shining brighter, stronger, and more steadfast. Therefore, I call you to stand boldly in this love. Do not dim your flame for the comfort of others. Do not shrink your presence to make space for shadows. Let your fire declare what is holy. Let your love remain uncompromised. And let this word not end with you alone. Share it so that others may know. Comment your testimonies so the world sees my faithfulness. And subscribe your heart to remain connected. For I will continue to reveal more in the days to come. Now receive my blessing. I cover you with peace that cannot be shaken, provision that cannot be stolen, and strength that cannot be broken. I surround you with my angels and clothe you in favor. I release gifts into your life, wisdom, discernment, and courage, to keep the fire alive and burning. Walk in confidence, chosen one, for you are shielded, you are anointed, you are loved. And as you keep the flame, you will see generations blessed, nations shaken, and heaven's light revealed through you.